Hello, let's talk about simplifying rational expression. All right, so a rational expression is anything that looks like a fraction. It would have something up top and something on the bottom. So let's look at a couple of rational expressions that we can simplify. And then I'm going to, okay, here's one. All right, so let's simplify this one. So you've got 2x over 4x squared minus 2x. So the very first step you want to do is factor as much as possible. So 2x cannot be factored, so we're just going to leave it like that. But we can find a common factor between 4 and 2. And I do believe that's going to, and also we have an x squared and an x. So let's call it a 2x is also going to be a common factor. So let's go and factor that out. So when you see that, if you factored out a 2x, you're basically dividing. So 4x squared divided by 2x is going to give us 2x. And then negative 2x divided by 2x is negative 1. So we're going to factor out a 2x minus 1. If you went back and distributed, you'd get 4x squared minus 2x. Now, the next thing you're going to do is cancel out anything that's exactly the same. So the 2x and the 2x can be canceled. And remember, you must have a numerator if you had a numerator to start with. There's always a numerator. There's not always a denominator, but there's always a numerator. So there was a numerator up here, but we can't just leave it blank. So we have to put a 1, and then our denominator is 2x minus 1. Nothing else is going to cancel out, so that's our final answer. All right, let's try one that's a little harder. If you want to go ahead and copy down these steps, I'm going to go and scroll. Go ahead and hit pause so that you can see that, and then I will go on to the next one. Okay, so the first one is factor the numerator, and then I'm going to scroll, and the denominator, sorry, and then I'm going to scroll down so you can see that a little better. Okay. All right, so let's go try one that looks like this. So this one needs to be factored. So our very first step is to factor. So I'm going to look for factors of 1 times 25 that add up to 10. Do you believe that's going to be x plus 5 times x plus 5? And then I'm going to look for factors of 1 times 20 that add up to 9. So factors of 20 that add up to 9, that's going to be x plus 5 and x plus 4. All right, the very next step is to cancel out anything that's exactly the same on the top and the bottom. And whatever's left over is what your answer is going to be. So we've got x plus 5 over x plus 4. Let's go ahead and state some of those restrictions. So we've got to go back to the beginning of our problem and see what's in the denominator. We had an x plus 5 in the denominator and an x plus 4 in the denominator. So I'm going to scroll down. Basically, x plus 5 cannot equal 0. So x cannot equal negative 5. And then what was the other factor? X plus 4 cannot equal 0. So x cannot equal negative 4. So those are your restrictions. I'm going to write that down. Okay, that goes along with domain. If you were going to be graphing that, that would be an asymptote. All right, that's about it for that. Okay, I am going to go on to another kind of file and look at when we want to add and subtract. Okay, so adding and subtracting is a little bit like simplifying. Okay, oh, you know what? I forgot to go back and multiply. Let's go back and multiply. All right, so multiplying, that's first. You got to know how to do that first. So let's play around with some of these. I'm going to pretend we already knew how to factor, okay? So let's go ahead and look at this one. Okay, so if you've got 2x plus 12, you're going to factor 2x plus 12 and get 2 times x plus 6. And then we need to factor 3x plus 9. So that's going to be, if you take out a common factor, we get 3 times x minus 3. Then we factor 2x plus 6, and we get 2 times x minus 3. And I don't think we can factor 3x plus 8, so we're just going to leave these alone. So Don't multiply yet, because that's going to involve foiling, and that's a big giant mess. Cancel out some stuff if you can. So again, x minus 3 is going to cancel with this x minus 3. I think, what else do we have that can cancel out? Nothing. The 2 and the 2 cannot cancel out with this 3, so we got to leave them alone. So let's go multiply those numbers. So 2 times 2 is 4. And then x plus 6 is the only thing left over, so we're going to leave that. And then we've got a 3 in the denominator. And the only thing we have left down here is a 3x plus 8. That is all you can do. Okay, that is all you can do with that. If you want to go find your restrictions, you got to go back to the beginning of the problem and see which things cannot equal 0. So x minus 3 cannot equal 0. So x cannot equal 3. And 3x minus plus 8 cannot equal 0. So once we go and solve that, let me go and work this out a little bit and scroll down. X cannot equal, it's a not equal, negative 8 over 3. All right, so when we get to graphing and doing more with that, those are going to be our asymptotes, and that's also going to help us figure out our domain. All right, now I'm going to go to adding and subtracting. So let's go look at adding and subtracting. Okay, so I'm going to go into a little bit more challenging one. Here is your steps if you want to copy those down. Go ahead and pause and put your steps in that you need to follow. Okay, so we're going to try one of these. This one, this is when they have the same denominator. Okay, so remember when you're adding something that has the same denominator, the denominator stays the same. Okay, so it's the same as that. We don't add the numbers together. And then we actually just combine like terms in the numerator. So 3c and 5c are going to make 8c. And then there's nothing over here, but we have a negative 4, so we're going to do minus 4. So the next step said simplify and cancel out, and it may involve factoring, and that's true. So let's go factor out our 8c minus 4. It looks like a 4 is going to go into both of those. So 4 times 2c minus 1, that's what this is right here. 8c minus 4 is just 4 over 2c minus 1. Bring down your denominator, 2c minus 1. Look at that. These are going to cancel out. So we've got 2c minus 1 canceling out. So our answer is 4. All right, let's try one that's a little bit more challenging. All right, this one, they have the same denominator. So technically, go ahead, you can just add your numerators together first. So let's keep our denominator the same, x squared plus 7x plus 12. And then we're going to combine our like terms. So x squared doesn't have anything that goes with it, so x squared stays alone. X and 3x get combined, and we get a 4x. And then 3 is all by itself, so we're going to have a 3 here. All right, these look like they can be factored because we can't just cancel out from here. These are connected with pluses and minuses, so we cannot just cancel them out. So let's factor that. All right, I'm thinking that's going to be x plus 3 times x plus 1. And then factoring this denominator is going to be x plus 3 times x plus 4. All right, once you cancel out the common factors, you're going to be left with x plus 1 over x plus 4. And that's basically your answer. All right, let's go on to doing some with not like denominators. Okay, so when we have something that's not alike, we have to go and make the denominator the same. Okay, so let me erase that little dot somehow. All right, so yeah, let's do this one. All right, so we want to figure out what is our common denominator of 2 and 4. Looks like 4 is going to be our common denominator. Okay, so here's what I like to think. What are you going to multiply 2 by to make it be a 4? Well, it looks like we're multiplying it by 2. So let's go ahead and multiply this whole entire thing by 2 over 2. Okay, That basically means we're going to do 2 times 3x minus 4, and then 2 times 2, which we already have a 4 down there, so we don't need to rewrite it. And then this one doesn't need to change because it's already in the right form. So let's just keep it, and then we're going to just bring down our 2x plus 6. Now our denominators are the same, so we're going to combine like terms. Okay, so I'm going to just do each part. You can skip some of these steps and put them together better, faster. All right, let's go ahead and distribute 6x minus 8. And then 2x plus 6 is going to be in the second one. Now let's combine our like terms. So we've got 6x minus 2x. So remember, you're subtracting here. 6x minus 2x is going to be 4x. And then negative 8 minus 6. Negative 8 minus 6 gives us negative 14. Okay, all over 4. Now, this can be put in lowest terms. Look at all of the numbers, all of the coefficients. They all have a common factor. It looks like it's 2. So let's divide all of our coefficients by 2. So we've got 2x minus 7 all over 2. And if you had to factor or do anything else, you would. But in this case, you don't. All right, I think I have time to do one more. All right, this was a challenge problem, so we're going to try this one real quick. All right, now look, if these don't look like they would ever multiply to be the same thing, or you could never multiply them to have a common factor, you're just going to have to use the other factor. So the common factor would be 5 times y minus 1. All right, so we're just going to go and make our common denominator be 5 times y minus 1. And then basically you're multiplying one factor by your numerator by the other denominator. So this is not cross multiplication. It's basically just going ahead and getting the same denominator. So really, if you multiply this denominator here by y minus 1, you got to multiply this one by y minus 1. But don't forget to bring this one down. Oh, this is going to involve FOILing. I might run out of time on this one. All right, so we're going to bring this one down here. But remember, we multiplied the denominator by 5, so we need to multiply the numerator by 5. All right, I got a lot of arrows here. Let me erase some of them. And then, let's see what we got here. All right, I'm going to go through. Let's multiply this real fast. This is going to involve FOIL, and this is going to be involving the distributive property. So we've got to go really fast. All right, so I've got y squared, and that's going to end up being a 3y. Trust me on this, and you probably want to go back and do this. Don't go ahead and distribute this, just leave it alone. And then this is going to be distributed, so it's going to be 10y minus whatever 14 times 5 is. I don't even know that off the top of my head. All right, that's going to be 70. Is that 70? Yeah, 70. All right, 5 times y minus 1. All right, now you have to combine your like terms. Okay, so we've got to go and do that real quick. I'm probably going to run out of time, so hopefully you've gotten this in the last, in class today. All right, now we want to find factors of negative 74 that add up to 13. Let me pause and find that one. Okay, I'm not finding one and I'm running out of time. So for time's sake, if this could be factored, it would. We're just going to say it cannot be factored. I really don't think it can be factored. So that's basically all you do. If you had to factor it, you would. All right, so study for your quiz for this weekend, over the weekend, and you have a quiz on Monday. All right, have a great weekend.